Be here this morning. I know Dabo and everything that our media relations team has pulled together for you. Hope you had a great time today here at the Reeves Center. It is that time of year. We're all centered and starting to think about football, and we couldn't be more excited about the upcoming 2019 season. There's a lot of great things have happened in the past, and we're really looking forward to some incredible things this year as well. So excited about it, and not only with football, but a lot of great things this fall happening on our campus. So with that, answer any questions.
And it's an auspicious way for the Clemson to kick off the new ACC network. What does that mean for the program?
Well, we were asked early on if that would be something we would be interested in, because as all of you know, Thursday night games are not something that we do an awful lot here at Clemson. But when we were approached with the idea of being the inaugural football game on the ACC network, there's only one first. So we were honored to have that opportunity. We hadn't had a home Thursday night game since 2013. So it kind of was our turn within the league. We don't like to do that many, but certainly pairing it up with the start of the network and all the different things that are going to go on that day, we were excited to do it and happy to do it.
Dan, Clemson's taken some big steps to make sure the network is successful. I mean, is that all ready to go? Is that studio set up here on campus completely ready to go? And how much of it, how much of an investment was it to really ensure that this thing would be a success?
Well, one of the great things, we started out with a pretty good circumstance because one of the big issues with pulling together the network was having a central location where all the fiber optics terminated. So we had that inside of Jervey. So what we ended up doing was just, basically gutting the inside of Jervey and creating the studio there. So it's incredibly functional. We have two studios, full studios right now. We have an audio room. We have another spot to do some of the great graphics and showcases that our folks do. We'll have a third studio so that we'll be able to do 3 broadcasts at one time. So I think our total investment's probably somewhere in the $4.5 to $5.5 million range, but we started out at a good spot. There's a lot of folks inside the ACC that did not have that good starting point, but we did, and we're excited about it. Rick Bagby and his staff are really looking forward to not only, they've done a great job year in and year out. I got to give Rick and his staff a lot of credit. You would watch a broadcast of one of our baseball games, for example, and you'd flip over to maybe another network linear broadcast. You'd be looking at ours on the digital, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. They take an incredible amount of pride in how they put that out there, and I think that we're going to do really well as it relates to seamlessly moving into the linear broadcast of the ACC network.
How much urgency or concern is there that the ACC is going to lock down those deals with the carriers that are still sort of in limbo?
We've, as athletic directors and presidents, we've been warned that this is bare-knuckle combat. When you get down to the distributors and the providers, getting down to the last minute. So really have a great team at ESPN that's done this before. Their staff that is working through that are experienced. And as I think everyone here understands, ESPN's a partner on this venture. So they have great incentive to move forward and get this done, much like the Atlantic Coast Conference does. So we're looking forward to that. I think it'll be better in year 2 than year 1 as it continues to grow, and just because of where some of the distribution timing comes in. But we want to do our part and get it out to everybody within the Clemson family to be able to have them call their provider, demand the ACC network, do those things that allow them to watch the Tigers and the entire conference through that linear network.
Dan, when you see the social media numbers and how it's just exploded the past few years, the following nationwide, what goes through your mind when you see those numbers now?
Well, what goes through my mind is how fortunate we are to have the staff that we have here now, that we're really on the front lines of doing that 5 or 6 years ago. To be able to position Clemson and the great work that our football program has done to be able to help move that forward. I mean, we have a great staff here. We were a little bit forward-looking on all of that to make sure that we were ready for the success that happened within our football program, and certainly from the social media side, whether it's the Twitter followers, Instagram, or now YouTube, which has become, I've been educated on this, YouTube has become an even bigger part of that external social media platform that we have. But folks like Jonathan Gant, Nick Conklin, their staff, Jeff previously to his new role, just incredible foresight to be able to position us to be able to take advantage of what has been an exploding industry.
And there's been a lot of discussion about playoff expansion potentially. You were on the committee the first few years. What are your thoughts on potential expansion, despite Clemson doing pretty well under the current model?
Well, we've been very fortunate to do real well under the current model. I think that as I listen to some of the collegiate commissioners, each year the teams that were in the Final Four go for a meeting with those folks in April to kind of debrief. And while we were only in there for a short period of time, there was a lot of talk about that. And the one thing that I took away from that meeting is, things are going to be different. Let's just rewind the clock back 10 years ago. They're different than they were 10 years ago. Rewind it 20 years. They're different than they were 20 years ago. So why would we think that 10 or 20 years from now it wouldn't be different? I think it will be. I will tell you, and the staff here, not only in the Reeves building, but our administrative staff, I'll tell you, it's really difficult to get all of the people from point A to point B. And how we go about maintaining the logistics, or conquering the logistics is probably a better way of saying it. How we conquer those logistics will probably be problem one. Getting additional teams, getting venues, all those things, that's actually the easy part. But if we had a team from across the country, and we were actually, one model said, hey, you maybe have some of the teams host events in their stadium. Well, a team coming from far away into Clemson in December, when you don't have hotels and all those things kind of pulled together, that could be a challenge. So it won't just be for us, it'll be throughout the country. So a lot of those things to happen, but it was different before, and I think it'll be different in the future.
Dan, a lot of changes on campus as far as the football facilities. You got the new MT building, the parking changes. What are the fans looking? What can they look forward to as far as changes coming into the football season?
Well, probably the biggest change moving forward is, and I'll point you to this sign to my left, best is the standard, okay? If you go to an NFL game, Major League game, an NBA game, an NHL game, you're going to walk through a metal detector to come into the stadium. And as we want to be best as the standard as it relates to fan safety, we're going to have metal detectors throughout every gate this year. We've worked in cooperation with our university police department, so that is going to happen. We piloted the program last year, and we learned a lot. We learned that the north side of the stadium, gates 5 and 9, this program doesn't work. So that's why one of the other changes that you'll see is there will be no cars in the first 2 parking lanes on the Avenue of Champions. We've been able to move those 140 cars to different locations. We've expanded parking lot 5, which is between Perimeter Road and the Oculus, to gain almost all those spaces back to keep those fans in close proximity to the stadium. But that area will be filled with entry points, with metal detectors, and hopefully we'll be able to, it'll be better in Game 3 than it was in Game 2, than it was in Game 1. I think everybody will understand that. We hope that everybody just decides to leave their tailgate maybe 5 minutes early and get into the stadium, because it's going to be a little different. But our fans are great. They're going to figure it out. They're going to get into the stadium, and they're going to be there for kickoff.